Bunny is now officially coming into the game. Alright guys, so I'm finally back after a short break. I know I was gone for about 3 days, and I want to apologize for that. I caught a little sickness, wasn't feeling my best, but now I'm good again, and I'm back to daily uploads as always. Thanks for being patient with me. But let's not waste time. Because I know the main reason you clicked on this video isn't to hear about me being sick. It's to talk about the brand new style that was officially announced this week. And that's right, it's Bunny Iglesias, a character I already talked about in my past videos, but now it's official. So let's get into it. Bunny is such a strange and interesting addition. In the manga, he only really appeared once. He scored a single goal, had basically one real panel that mattered, and then he was gone. That's it. If you're a casual fan, you probably didn't even remember this guy's name. But the devs decided to bring him into Blue Lock Rivals anyway. And not just bring him in. They're making a full style out of him, with a trailer, official animations, and even chemistry scenes. In fact, the trailer already shows his chemistry reaction with Livonia, which is a really cool touch. But here's the funny part. The only canon moment Bunny had in the manga probably won't even be in his awakening. It'll likely be in that chemistry reaction instead. It's the same thing we saw with Charles and Loki, where some of their most iconic manga or anime moments are represented in chemistry rather than awakening itself. And hey, just a quick reminder to subscribe, because it motivates me especially now to try to upload daily videos, so thank you in advance for subbing. Now, ever since Bunny was announced, I've seen so many people asking the same questions. Stuff like, how are they adding Bunny off of one panel? Or, Bunny has no feet, so what is his style even going to look like? Or, how can they add him this early? And to be honest, these questions got so common that one of the lead devs actually posted a message addressing them directly. He even set it up like a Q&A so nobody else would keep spamming the same concerns. And here's what he said. The first question was like, how are they adding Bunny off one panel? Bunny has no feet. How can they add him? And the answer was simple. I'm just going to rephrase it. Alright guys, I've seen too many of you saying this, so I have to explain. Basically, we're basing the character off of the feats we already know, plus some obvious personality traits, and then adding our own creative twist to fill in the gaps. Example, it's obvious from the manga that Sei does not like this guy. That's being included. Example, it's obvious Bunny has an ego-crushing personality, a crazy jumping ability, and a powerful shot. Those are being included. So we're not just inventing things out of nowhere, we're building on what exists and expanding it. The dev even said, I could send specific manga panels to prove this, but I don't want to clutter the channel. Just trust me on this. He added that people shouldn't worry about the devs rushing Bunny or it being too soon, because if it turns out they're wrong about some parts, they can always adjust later. But right now, this is an opportunity to be creative, and that's the key. Bunny doesn't have much manga material, which means the devs get more freedom to shape him however they want. And honestly, that can be a good thing. The dev finished by saying that, in his opinion, Bunny is going to be one of the coolest styles ever added to the game. So he basically told everyone not to worry, trust the team, and let them cook. Now, there was another question he answered himself before people could even ask. What rarity will Bunny be? And the answer, in a dev style, Mr. Gatekeep will gatekeep, as usual. Wait until Saturday. So he didn't confirm it directly, but let's be honest. With 99% certainty, Bunny will be world class. That just makes the most sense. He's a brand new character being introduced with hype, with chemistry ties, and the devs love to push new characters at the top. Rarity to keep the excitement high. And he 100% is the world class level, so no doubt about it. But there's a tiny chance, maybe 1%, that they introduce a brand new rarity, which I've mentioned before as the new gen rarity. But realistically, I don't think they're pulling the trigger on that yet. Most likely Bunny is world class, no question. But let's step back and think about what this means for the game. Bunny appearing off of one panel shows us that the devs are not limiting themselves to only fully fleshed out manga characters. They're willing to pull from smaller appearances and build styles around them. In a way, that's exciting because it means anyone from the manga could show up at some point. Even minor players could get full styles if the devs want to experiment. And with Rivals, that creative freedom actually works because every new style doesn't just fill in canon. It expands what players can do. For Bunny specifically, his style will almost definitely lean on three things: his personality, his jumping skill, and his finishing ability. The devs said directly that he has an ego-crushing aura, so expect his kit to feel oppressive when he gets going. The jump will probably be his signature. Maybe a leaping shot, maybe an air-based special animation, but something that makes you feel like he's taking over in the air. And then, of course, his shot. That's the simplest part. His awakening or flow will likely involve a super clean strike, maybe with spin or vertical lift, to showcase the one actual goal he scored in the manga. What makes Bunny interesting is that his identity is kind of blank. Unlike characters like Rio, Shadao, or Charles who came with tons of manga material, Bunny doesn't carry expectations. That gives the devs a blank canvas. And that's why I actually agree with the lead dev's point. This is not something to be worried about. If they get him wrong, they can adjust later. If they get him right, then they've created one of the coolest new-gen styles in the game. Either way, Bunny will stand out simply because he's so different from what we've had so far. Now, let's talk Rarity again. If Bunny is world-class, that puts him in the same tier as the top of the top. And some people are already worried that this means he'll be overpowered on release. And honestly, they're probably right. Every new world class tends to be overtuned at launch because the devs want people to be excited, roll for them, and use them. But if he ends up too strong, he'll eventually get tuned down just like Nell Rin, or other characters did after release. That's just how balance cycles go in Rivals. So if you see Bunny dominating games for the first week, don't panic. That's normal. The devs will adjust him later if needed. But here's where I want to bring up something I mentioned in past videos: the possibility of the new-gen Rarity. If there's ever a character that makes sense to debut as the first new-gen, it's Bunny. He doesn't have the same canon weight as the others, but he represents the next generation of players that Blue Lock Rivals can build on creatively. Giving him a new-gen Rarity would make sense in terms of branding, but again, the chance is tiny. Most likely he's world-class now, and new-gen as a Rarity will be saved for a future update that introduces multiple players at once, not just Bunny. So, where does that leave us? Bunny is coming this week. He has a trailer with Livigno showing off their chemistry. His only manga panel moment will likely be placed inside that chemistry, not awakening. His style will be based on clear traits like his ego, his jump, and his shot, with creative additions from the devs. His Rarity is basically guaranteed to be world-class, unless by some miracle they use him to debut the new-gen tier. And the lead dev himself has already told us not to worry, that the team will cook and make him one of the coolest styles in the game. I think this is exciting because it shows the devs aren't afraid to experiment. They're not waiting for the anime to adapt every character fully before adding them. They're pulling from the manga directly, even from smaller appearances, and they're letting themselves create. That means the future of Rivals could be wild. Characters you never thought would be playable could show up and become fan favorites. And for Bunny, even though he started as basically a joke character with one panel, now he's about to have a full kit, a chemistry scene, an awakening, and maybe even change how people think about him entirely. So yeah, that's where we're at. Bunny Iglesias is coming. Expect a flashy kit built around jumping, ego, and finishing. Expect him to be world class, and expect him to actually be one of the coolest additions we've had in a while. I know people are worried about rushing him, but honestly, I think this is the perfect time. Rivals needs fresh energy, and Bunny is about to bring it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps out the channel.